Troubleshooting spanning tree is an interesting beast because spanning tree works really well out of the box. But it doesn't optimize itself, and it can certainly be tuned erroneously as well. We want to make sure that our distribution layer switches are the root bridges. We want to make sure that we're enforcing good path selection. Path selection is influenced at first by the root bridge, but we can also change it with things like port priorities and costs for spanning tree. Rapid per VLAN spanning tree protocol plus is a great enhancement to Classic. We also have multiple spanning tree protocol where there's actually a lot of things that can go wrong. And then there's features that we can tack on to most of these implementations of spanning tree, each of which could pose its own unique challenges for spanning tree. When we think about the election that occurs inside of spanning tree, lower is better. And the first election and the most impactful election is the root bridge. The first thing we do is we think the priority is going to play a role. Now the priority can be manually set. We can go into global configuration mode and say this VLAN range is going to have this priority, or we can say and utilize this macro command saying root primary, which says make sure that you're the lowest in the topology. So it'll go one notch lower than whatever the best criteria is for the root bridge election right now. Now there's something that will affect your priority in the wrong way if you want to be a root bridge, and that is uplink fast. You don't use uplink fast a lot, but if you did, let's say spanning tree, I'll do a show spanning tree 1. I want you to see that my priority there is actually pretty low. Okay. I'm going to do spanning tree uplink fast. And, oh, and I had misspoken. This is my bridge ID. I just misread the wrong line. My bridge ID had a priority of 32,768. And now it has a lot higher. Uplink fast is what did that. I don't want that command in effect, but you do want to understand that when you do that command, you don't want to be the root bridge. You also have to be thinking, well, maybe there's something that is taking over the root bridge role. A rogue switch could be doing that. And it's very easy to insert yourself into a spanning tree domain and have the best priority, like a priority of 0. The way that you guard against that is root guard. The root guard feature says, I'm going to allow spanning tree communication and BPDUs to come in on this port, but if I see a superior BPDU, I will place that port in the inconsistent port status. Show spanning tree inconsistent ports. Show spanning tree inconsistent ports is an important command. That is going to tell you if you have features that are triggering blocked ports and things like that, or disabled ports, essentially. They self-heal, by the way, when the underlying issue is corrected. Show spanning tree summary totals tells you what spanning tree features are on, by the way. So if you weren't sure if uplink fast were on or off, you can tell with this command. If you're troubleshooting path selection for spanning tree, then you would start, in fact, checking for the root bridge of the topology, because that sets the anchor point and influences all of the path selection. However, if you're satisfied with the root bridge and you get into an issue where you have to steer traffic between two devices, then you can go to the interface level and modify the cost. Now, there is another thing that you might just want to tuck away in the back of your head, and that is spanning tree has two different path cost methods. Short is what we get when we're working with classic or rapid spanning tree protocol. Long is what we get with MST. Have you ever noticed that we get very, very different costs when we're working with MST? Well, part of the issue is that changing it to MST will also change you to the long path cost method. So I'll just do this command show spanning tree path cost method. I'm running rapid spanning tree protocol, so I'm getting the short, but don't be too surprised when you switch over to MST and you get the longer, much, much larger costs for paths. And in fact, this is going to be, the long version is going to be better for MST. And for Nexus switches, you often see the long path cost method.